have to say, really cool, great fun. So much potential for this unit. G'day everybody. It's been a while since we've done any guns and gear, but today I've got a bit of an opportunity to do some footage and do a little bit of shooting. But today is not actually about the Wedgetail Mini NPR with the Night Stalker Mini and that pairing, but they will feature today. Today is about a different piece of equipment, which means I'm not going to be able to wear a hat. This funky looking bit of gear by Utech. It is something that I saw on Kickstarter and thought, wow, that could be quite interesting to play around with, especially up here. And since I've been playing with a bit of thermal equipment here, there, and everywhere. So let's have a look at it just very quickly before I get down, sight this rifle in, and we go out into the dark and see what we can see. So this funky looking thing here, which is kind of like an augmented reality headset, is actually an augmented reality headset. But the difference is that it has got thermal imaging. They can also hook in different things like an endoscope, so you can use as an inspection cam to inspect whatever orifice you want to. And it's even got a little sonar unit, so you can track your fish. Now, I don't have many fish up here. I've got turtles and I know where they are. But today, what we're going to be looking at is these non-traditional nods, and yeah, check out what this thermal kit looks like. It can take videos, so we're going to be doing some video on that in the daylight and then also in the dark. But it is a funny bit of gear when you get it on your head. Now, what it does is it overlays an image onto the screen in front of me here, and you can flick it up and see everything normally. It's got a battery pack in it, which is the same as what my optics take, and yeah, really, it's going to be in your eyes, my eyes, how it goes. But while we're at it, and we are here, this is my Wedgetail Mini. So it is a 223, or it's a multi-caliber. So it's the smaller mag size. So your 5.56s, etc. So it's a 223 wild, but you can get different uppers. So you can run things like 300 blackout. And if you want to go some dynamic, different wildcat calibers, you certainly can. I know a guy who's working on a little .50 model. So that'll be interesting to see. This rifle is set up with a pump action. We have to do things manually here because in Western Australia, the only people who are allowed semi-automatics are the government and pistol shooters. And what I've got on here is the PARD Night Stalker Mini, which is a cool little optic. I've been using a lot of PARD optics and they are affordable, high quality, and quite versatile. And what I found is these things can handle the heat. We have got on the side here, we've got a CV Life laser designator, green dot. And then on the other side, I've got a IR illuminator so that we can see better in the dark. Right, let's go drop some rounds down range, get a hitting on point, and go for a walk down a creek line and see who is about. Alrighty, we're down at the range and we're about to sight in this rifle, but we're going to try out doing some of the first person filming with the Utech itself. Now, one thing I can't do with this headset on is wear my ears. So I've got little yellows in. Right, video's up. So let's have a look at what we've got. It's pretty cool because I've got full live across to see what I can see, except for through the scope. Let's punch a few rounds down at 100 meters and make sure that we can get this thing to be somewhere where we want it to be. So we're going to do 3 rounds to target 1, and then we will adjust. Alrighty. Time to pop down and see what's happened and where we've ended up. So, target 1's there, rounds went over there. We've got a reasonable amount to adjust. Alright, so it's nice and dark out. Got the light on in here, but we've got the headset, so we're going to boot it up and see what we can see. I've got spare batteries, I've got my water there, and yeah, yellow ears in. So gonna go on foot and cruise on out, see what we can see, and might get surprised. Okay, so can't see anything because it is effectively a 0 light night. We've just got stars, Starlink, and not much else. The plan here is to get onto the fence line, and what we've got is a part of the creek that is, well, the fence is downed in it, but there's water in the creek there, and we should have some interesting livestock. Now, some of the thermals I've used are good enough to see my footprint, so let's have a look. Not quite that good. Takes a little bit of adjusting, but after you've got blackout and only the thermal is your visual reference, it's not terrible. So we might flick through some different colour palettes while we're going, if we can. No, it appears that, no, we can. We've got a temperature indicator. Got a cow out there. Looks like a mob of cows in there. Let's see what the pard shows me. Here we are. A mob of moose. Having a good look at me there. All right, we're back and it's daylight. I have downloaded the files and you can see them now. We're going to go through that, and the resolution size is not incredible, but that is due to the sensor size itself. Now, I ran the battery completely flat. I ran her out during that whole video. I didn't recharge it, I just ran it. So it did go for a couple of hours, which was kind of entertaining. And I've got a video file from when I actually started getting into some kangaroos, and I saw a lot more of them along the fence line there. And it was good for detection range. Out to about 120, 130 meters, you'll pick up that yes, there is a thermal something there. You'll get a little bit of detection, but you won't get identification. So I was using a lot of just my ears to hear the hopping and then scan, look, and then I'd bring up the rifle, use the pad to confirm what I'm looking at. Good for larger animals, like great for the cows. You could pick them very easily. I couldn't see any mice and small marsupials. I did see some ducks. Unfortunately, that video file is corrupted, but that happens. It was a long file. It was, quite a bit larger. Now, the unit itself, it is kind of funky, but it is quite light and takes a little while to sort of work out the head position that's going to work for you. And the cool thing is this thing works with glasses. It'd work better without glasses, but when you've got it on, it is kind of present, but it is quick to flick up. I could see quite a lot of potential in having this in some sort of monocular style, like only half of it, but that's what this headset's for. It's set for inspection and everything. Great for doing inspection work on thermal for electrical and around a house or anything where you can sit there and you'd be able to look at it and you can work under it and you can scan around, keep your hands free while looking at thermal things, looking for water leaks and mice in roof. So one of the things that I'd have to say in terms of negatives would be that this mount up the top here, whilst very sturdy, it's good, the unit's not going to fall, crawling under fences and the like, it didn't move. It would be very nice if this was tiltable, so you could change it so that depending on where it is comfortable on your head, and I noticed that it can get a little bit tight at times, that in the way that you want to use it, so if I want to use it as like a picture-in-picture in real life, like multifocal or bifocal lenses, having it up here and then being able to tilt and manually adjust the angle of the sensor itself so that you can fine-tune it and true up your visual field would be pretty amazing. One of the coolest things about this is that it really is showing you the potential and where things are going. Now, not everyone has Anduril's budget, but this is, entry-level stuff. This is available to normal people. And that has a whole load of benefits. And being on an Android system means that you can install custom apps into it. And if you want to, you can actually download videos and movies onto this unit to watch them if you would like, giving you a virtual screen, which is actually not too bad. It went out quite well. I reckon that, it's a nice light unit. They are, this is a beta unit, so they're ramping up the production. And I've been a little bit delayed in being able to get this video together, so I apologise to those guys. I really wish I had more time on my hands to really test this out earlier so that I could have given some more of that feedback before they went to full production to make those little changes, like being able to make this adjustable. You can unscrew it and you could wedge it yourself if you wanted to. It does have those other features like the fish finder, and being able to use the endoscope, which would be very handy because when using endoscopes before, I've used my phone or the one that I've got in the workshop, and you got to hold your phone and you're messing around. This is kind of cool because you can then just poke it in and you can still see hands-free. So this unit has a whole stack of potential, and the most exciting thing about this is that people are making these augmented headsets. A slight challenge I had with it was sort of the darkness of the tint and being able to look through my optic as well. I was playing around with that quite a bit, trying to line up both so I could true it up. And another part being that the camera was not very sensitive to infrared at night time. So potentially you could insert a different camera module up there that would be more attuned to night vision. So yeah, thanks to the team for sending me one of these to play around with, give feedback and really to try out. I'm going to definitely have to have a crack with it a few more times, and I think one of the things that's going to be good is using it for, well, going out shooting while it's hot, because it was 32 degrees still when I got home last night. It got to 42 today. So you could quite easily drive a vehicle that's got no windscreen with the visual field that you have on this, and you can still see instruments and everything that you need to, and then you can have a second operator, a shooter, to work on it. Have to say, really cool, great fun. So much potential for this unit. Yeah, that is the UTRACK by Utech. They're on Kickstarter. They're punching out some models coming soon. And if you want to have a fiddle around with and play with it, it's certainly got a lot more potential for things like for inspection work rather than hunting work, but still good enough for going around in the bush and doing a little bit of pest control. So I've got the PARD video and everything up in there with a little bit of the work I did when this had stopped recording. I didn't know that it had stopped recording, but also that CV Life laser on the side of the rifle is very handy. Having it up there, and a little bit difficult with my wrist the way it is at the moment. I can click it on, get that green dot out there, but the small PARD Night Stalker Mini doesn't have a laser rangefinder in it, and when you're doing a lot of night vision shooting, it can get a little bit tricky determining your distance, and so having that laser allows you to work out your convergence point and give you a ballpark of how far away your target is. So that unit is quite nice, quite good, and it was really cool seeing it show up in the optic, and that's where I was kind of interested if I could sort of use these as a an alternative display for my rifle scope. There certainly is the potential there for linking your Wi-Fi enabled heads-up display and your Wi-Fi enabled rifle scope, so that you could use two split screening where you can see what you're aiming at without having to be down on top of it, which is one of the challenges when using traditional night vision and a rifle. So you're getting there. It's great. So go check them out if that's the sort of stuff you're interested in. And I'm going to have to leave it at that really, and just say that it really sucks when you have only got pump action rifles. I mean, I've got bolt action rifles, but for dealing with a large amount of animals, the pump action is very efficient, quick, and it's a great platform. But last year I had surgery on this elbow because of the stress, repeated stress from working the action so much. And this year I've got damage to my wrist. So it's going well. So thanks for jumping on and checking it out. I will see how I go with this edit, and yeah, hope you guys see what I saw.